What is karma? Karma is a soul's journey returning back home. Karma is experiencing soul separation with soul embodiment. Karma is not simply freeing your soul from your physical embodiment, but rather a complex and simplified experience. This experience is an attempt to allow you to manipulate energy as being a vessel, as being human. Dharma is when you have completed and have dissolved your carbon-based embodiment and have graduated with inner alchemy to a lighter embodiment, what many would call a crystalline embodiment. You must remember how to burn off the tethering, emotional, psychological, somatic technologies measured in frequency that becomes encoded within your genetic predisposition, your embodiment, your etheric center, which includes your 12 meridian passageways in Chinese medicine, and your aura, which is also your toroidal field or your bios field, sort of like a fingerprint, an extension of your very presence. See, karma no longer exists, neither the term dharma. Once you remember the embodiment of your very creation, oftentimes experiencing disembodiment of self and or of others. Once we surpass the level of judgment of self and of others, once we can see beyond the vessel and the lessons of what was taught to us within this lifetime, once we are able to see clearly with no judgment, with no expectations, and also with no manipulation, just to be able to absorb and see freely, this births the beginning of this kill switch or kill button, which has been embedded in every single one of us, especially during times when we have forgotten, become paralyzed, our soul becomes paralyzed in the seemingly existential sea or embodiment, ocean, sea, embodiment. A form of separation between energetics and plasma fields, feeling separate from different densities of your existence, such as the elements, to experience separating density fields such as air and water and fire and earth. The rationale was to split your psyche, to fool you into two embodiments, and that the other one was outside of you. Male, outside of me would be female. If I was female, outside of me would be male. And the cry back home, the fear, the guilt, the shame, the missing of self and of others, this walk, this sense of feeling disembodied, incomplete, spiritual amnesia, forgetting your ancient calling, of varying versions of yourself, both high and low, the symphony of your creation, the voice as you command, forgotten to a point where we embodied, where we strategically altered your ability to command your existence and your reality, being the center and the source of your experiences. The purity of that nature of experiencing being a human and calling back your individuality, as I believe Carl Jung would say, individualization, is the beginning of remembering that although a pixel on an LCD screen, yet the pixel works in synchronicity, offering an entire visual through this holographic experience, fooling us into believing that the only creative and imaginatory changes can occur within media arts of TVs. And the only way that you can come home to your heart is through the illusion that you must crack open a rectangular shaped scripture and the words of other pixels who were apparently illuminated with their sense and their reality. See, the illusion is that we fall and revere that one pixelated formation of that one verse, or maybe the entire book, yet fail to pay attention as to who created the TV screens. Where does the money come from to create that? What is the agenda behind that? What was the agenda of taking original scripture of thousands of years and minimalizing it into one book and telling you that your spiritual journey, well, here, everything that you need to know comes with this set of instructions. See, Human Incorporated, INC is the biggest business within this industry, keeping us entertained with the grid work of suburbia of most of North America, which is the experience of most people within the United States, keeping us separated from nature, keeping us encapsulated, always four-pointed corners, square-shaped buildings, schools. The sigil is that although it can paint and cover the walls, what you will not see is the bricks, the foundation. That each brick layered becomes a sigil, activating, deactivating. See, the energetics of a brick or a book is neither good or bad. It's like sacred geometry is geometry. It has a function, it has a point. So there's 4 points keeping you cornered. No different than a cell block. That's why they call it a cell block. Or cells within a battery pack. Or cells pixelating a human being. They don't want you to remember that your projected self and how you're experiencing this projection as we speak right now is you, but not entirely you. It is a fractal of a very higher version of all of who you've always been. However, many of us got lost. The spiritual warfare is minimally 250 billion years old. The distortions are in our math and our physics and our science. The revealing is in our math and our physics and our science. However, the reason why that becomes revealed is because of how we emanate our awakening. The emanation measured in exchange has created the intelligence, whether good or bad, that's being reverberated right back at us. I mean, how you gonna tell me how to speak to my highest self, what Joshua or God means to me within my experience? How am I gonna have all these old dead white men, excuse me, but how am I gonna have all these old dead white men telling me how to be Puerto Rican? They don't even know what it's like to be in this age. I don't even know what it's like to be in their age. Yet I must follow a script verbatim versus integrating what aligns to me, who aligns to me, dead or alive, Puerto Rican or not, by the way. And remember that plasma exists within our blood flow. And to expand and to nourish our blood flow is to add new color illuminating variances of our experiences, seeding the soul, nourishing the soul via the blood our individual experiences. See, your dharma is once you realize the illusion that perhaps 8 billion people, perhaps the trillions of us that have existed or will continue to exist in the future, are all variables being experienced with the separation between blood and plasma, and the fields between the energetic forced separation through negative factions that be lies other phantom dimensions that are attempting to tether to us, that are already tethering to our individual experiences. And the synchronization is so precise and so refined. Many would not know what's not of their mind. It was simply. Now, how would you know that my words are not fooling you? It's because then you graduate, or I would say I would graduate, from the field of communication, of knowing that I am not my mind, nor my body, nor my experiences. But the level of comprehension of love, of unconditional love, zero judgment, zero expectations of self or of others, is all possible by the law of one. I'm just using those terms to describe that there is a creator of all creations. How can we live harmoniously with different expressions? Whether you're human or you're extraterrestrial, whether you're from this dimension or another, whether you're from a phantom field attempting to complete that field and graduate from that with no judgment while you are experiencing something that you're not. See, to some varying degree, we've all been there. How do we allow free will and yet keep the levels of coherence of one's ability to be sovereign and free, as in free will? How do we do all of that? It's by remembering that when you see one who does not see source within themselves, is that a version of you unremembered? Because I see source in everything. This is how I dare to make this video.